Hey everybody, welcome to another Terrainify tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to paint our playable deciduous trees. If you want some of these trees for your own gaming table, links are in the description as well as the list of paint colors. Okay, here we go. Step 0. I recommend printing these trees using black filament. The reason for that is there are some deep areas within the branches that can be tricky to reach. If you miss any spots, they won't be that noticeable because of the natural shadows in the deep areas. So starting with base coating, I've already gone ahead and glued the base to the main part of the tree. So the next step is base coating. You can glue the top part of the canopy in place as well, but if you leave it as it is, as a separate piece, these trees have a flat, gridded surface that you can put minis on, which is why we call them the playable deciduous trees. So the first step for painting is to paint the trunk and branches using a dark brown. It's pretty much inevitable that you will get some brown paint on the leaves, but don't worry about that because we'll fix it in the next step. Just focus on making sure that the trunk and all the branches are painted. You may want to use a smaller brush to get into the tighter areas that are more difficult to reach. So next we're going to base coat the leaves. Once you're done painting the trunk and branches, set that part aside to dry and base coat the top part of the canopy with a dark green. You may want to paint this piece in multiple steps. Otherwise, you won't have an unpainted section to hold while you're working. Once the brown paint on the bottom piece is dry, go back and paint the leaves on this piece. Try to avoid getting green paint on the branches and trunk. Any mistakes can be touched up before we finish the last step. So the final steps are base coating. Once both parts are dry, check to see if there are any spots that need more paint or spots that need to be touched up. Once everything is base coated and dry, we can go on to the next step. Dry brushing. We're going to start by dry brushing the leaves, using a light green onto the leaves. At this point, you should see a fairly dramatic transformation as the tree goes from being a solid block of green to a vibrant green. One suggestion for this part is that even if you leave the top of the canopy separate, hold the entire model together as you dry brush the leaves to make sure that the area where the two pieces meet will blend seamlessly. Again, don't worry if the green paint got onto the branches. We're going to touch up the branches before the last step. One potential trap at this point is getting into a cycle of continuously going back and forth, touching up the areas where the leaves and branches meet. While attention to detail is meritorious, keep in mind that this part of the tree will not be visible when used during a game. Any small amount of dry brushing of the wrong color will likely only be noticeable with close inspection. In other words, it likely isn't worth the time and effort to make sure the paint job around this area is absolutely perfect. Dry brushing the trunks and branches. For the next step, we're going to do our touch-ups to the branches so they're ready for the last step. And the last step is to dry brush a light brown or tan color onto the trunks of the branches. So a little pro tip, don't be a dingus. Make sure to use a dry brush when dry brushing. Similar to dry brushing, you're almost certain to get a little brown paint onto the leaves. Depending on how noticeable it is, you may want to go back and touch up the green after dry brushing the light brown. And once you finish dry brushing, the tree is complete. As you can see, the entire painting process is a base coat and a layer of dry brushing with any touch-ups that may be required. These trees are simple to paint, and you can get an entire forest painted up in a relatively small amount of time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And check out Trainify.com where you can get these and all of our other models. Thanks for watching.